As Prime Minister Modi touches down the United States, we're looking at a lot on the agenda. The 4 days of his state visit will be filled with enough and more talks on bilateral ties and trade. Let's start with the deal, of course, a key defense deal that is all set to be inked between India and the United States. And the most exciting one, of course, among them is the Predator drones deal that is expected, the Sea Guardians, which the United States used to pull off some key precise attacks. Now, also on the cards, we're also seeing military technology cooperation. There'll be a lot of exchanges in terms of technology in the defense sector. And then we know there is going to be enough and more talk on the Indo-Pacific region, on how to establish relations within the Indo-Pacific region. What more can we do between India and the United States to improve this area when it comes to trade and ties? And then finally, talks on Chinese aggression. We're already seeing Joe Biden now taking up the issue of China, calling Xi Jinping a dictator. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, too, at this point will be discussing extensively on the kind of roadblocks that China is posing when it comes to countering terrorism along the border areas of India. So this is certainly going to be the agenda. A lot of that talk will take place in the next 4 days of Prime Minister Modi on his official state visit to the United States. All right, now, meanwhile, China has blocked a proposal by India and the United States at the United Nations to designate elite terrorist Sajid Mir, wanted in 26/11 attacks, as a global terrorist. India and the US has jointly moved the proposal to blacklist Sajid Mir under 1267 Al-Qaeda sanctions, the Committee of the UN Security Council, as a global terrorist and subject him to an assets freeze, a travel ban and an arms embargo. India has played an audio clip out at the UN as well as proof of Mir's involvement and slammed China for shielding established terrorists for this petty geopolitical interests. In the clip, Mir is heard directing terrorists to hunt down foreigners at the Taj Hotel and kill them indiscriminately. India has said that blocking of its proposal showed that there was indeed something genuinely wrong with the global counter-terrorism architecture. Sajid Mir is one of India's most wanted terrorists and has a US bounty of $5 million for his role in the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, in which 166 people were killed.
Justice still continues to elude the victims of the Mumbai terror attacks. I'd like you all to listen to this particular sound file in the presentation, even as the terror attacks were unfolding.
तो जो जहाँ पे आपको मूवमेंट नजर आती है, बंदा जिस छत पे चल रहा है, कोई आ रहा है, जा रहा है, उसको फायर ठोको। उसे नहीं पता यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है। इंशाल्लाह। तो जो जहाँ पे आपको मूवमेंट नजर आती है, बंदा जिस छत पे चल रहा है, कोई आ रहा है, जा रहा है, उसको फायर ठोको। उसे नहीं पता यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है। इंशाल्लाह।
This was Sajid Mir, a very dreaded terrorist who directed the terrorists from across the border in real time to hunt down foreigners in the Taj Hotel and kill them indiscriminately. He was listed as a proscribed terrorist under the national laws of India. He was proscribed under the laws of the United States, this host country, and of several other countries globally, many of whose nationals lost their lives. But when the proposal for listing him did not go through the Security Council sanctions regime, we had strong reasons to believe that something was genuinely wrong in the global sanctions regime, as manifested in the Security Council. If we cannot get established terrorists who have been proscribed across global landscapes listed under the Security Council architecture for pure geopolitical interests, then we really do not have the genuine political will needed to sincerely fight this challenge of terrorism.
All right, I'm going to cut across to Monish joining us for more on that. Monish, tell us more on China's plan, really an intention, as you know, one would speculate, on why they would stop India's bid to declare Sajid Mir, the man who is responsible for the 2008 Mumbai attacks that killed 166 people, to announce him as a global terrorist. It seems like China is posing roadblocks. India has now placed this matter in the United States, right, during the visit of Prime Minister Modi. This will be presented before the UN yet again. Tell us more on China's intentions here.
Well, as far as Sajid Mir is concerned, remember, India has presented a very strong case, and on Wednesday, before the United Nations Council, India ripped China apart as far as Sajid Mir is concerned. And remember, this is not for the first time that China has been trying to create a roadblock in declaring a terrorist a global terrorist, a designated terrorist. Now, as far as China is concerned, remember, even in the case of Masood Azhar in 2019, China was not on page with India or other countries in declaring him as a global terrorist. And again, China is creating a roadblock as far as terming Sajid Mir as a global terrorist is concerned. But as far as the audio conversation is concerned, remember, this was a clear message to the entire world that how China is functioning as far as global terrorism is concerned. And Sajid Mir is a person who is not only involved in 2011 Mumbai attack, but also he was responsible for killing of 166 people, including some of the US citizens. And that is why the United States are also, on the page with India in declaring Sajid Mir as a global terrorist. But as far as China is concerned, in the speech it was very clear by India that there is something genuinely wrong with China, and that is why they are not, on the page with India in declaring Sajid Mir as a global terrorist. Nabila.
All right, Munish, thank you very much for joining us. Let's just hope the United States visit of Prime Minister Modi this time will change those roadblocks to declare this man a global terrorist. Sajid Mir, responsible for the 26/11 attack, still goes absconding. He's still free, and China somehow cushioning him by restricting this process with the UN.